This video is going to take you through how to make this lamp. It's two different components. We've got the arm, which is that bit I'm turning off there, and the shade, which is that one I'm turning off. We're going to do some revolves, we're going to do some sweeps, a sweep, and we've got some shelling in there as well. So I'm going to start with a new design. As always, save your work in your class folder. So I can just go save, make sure it's in your folder. One way you can do that is to click on the data panel, make sure you have it in the right place. This is my Fusion Skills folder, so but you make sure that you save it in your class folder. So if I click on this drop-down menu, you can see all my other classes that I have. Make sure you save it in the correct place. So I'm just going to keep mine in the Fusion folder. I'm going to call it lamp video. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the base for the lamp. So I'm going to start by creating a new sketch. So under create sketch, and I want it to be so that the top of the lamp is on the top. So you can see at the moment the top of the cube here is the top plane. So if I were to draw on that plane there, that would be fine. But we're going to make the base by revolving. So I want to click on this plane there. Next, I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to do it underneath the origin. So I'm starting in the origin, click there, and then move out. Now, as that 7.624 is highlighted, I can just type in without doing anything else and press 10. If I press enter, I would accept both those dimensions. So what I'm going to do is press tab, and you can see it's changed to the other dimension. That one I want to make 15. Okay, so now that we've got that, I'm going to zoom in. So what I'm doing here is panning. That's just two fingers together on the trackpad. If that doesn't work, you can use this hand here to move stuff around. Press escape to deselect that. I'm just going to pinch to zoom in, or expand rather, it's the opposite of a pinch. And we're going to use the arc tool. So under create, there's many different types of arcs that you can do. I want to use the center point arc today. So I'm going to click on the center point arc, and I'm going to select this bottom corner here. Click once there, move up to the top, click again, and it will drag it round. So the first one you click on is the center, and you can see here, I'm going to reference it on that point. See, it's locked in, staying in line with that edge. So next, I'm going to just use the line tool. If I click again, because I've got the arc, you can see there's a little arc image. If I click again, it'll just keep drawing arcs. So don't really want to do that. So one thing you can get used to doing, if you like, is pressing escape. And that means we've got nothing selected. The only thing we've got selected is the select option. So anyway, I'm just going to delete that arc that I didn't want to do. And we're going to use the line tool to connect this into one solid, or rather two solid profiles there. We're going to rename that sketch as base. So just expand the sketches folder by clicking on the triangle. It won't let me rename that right now because I have the line tool selected. So I'm going to press escape. You see it's disappeared from being selected up there. Click on sketch 1, and now I can name that base. So I'm going to finish the sketch, and you see the revolve icon is here, but all the create commands are under the create drop-down menu. You can see here's revolve, but mine's pinned to my taskbar there. Anyway, either way, you can select it. So the first thing, for some reason, it's wanting me to select my axis first, but I prefer to do the profile first so we know what we're revolving. So it's that quarter circle and that rectangle there. So we see we've got two selected here. Next, I'm going to select the axis, and it's this left-hand line there. You can see it's given us a preview of what it'll look like, so I'm happy with that. So I can click OK. Next, we are going to draw our path. Okay, so out of the top of this base, we're going to have a long looping line. So I'm going to create a new sketch, and I'm going to take it on one of these two faces. It doesn't matter. Again, this is the path that our sweep is going to follow. So I'll click on that face there, and we're going to assume that that base is super, super heavy. So it allows us to take the Create Spline tool, Fit Point Spline, and I'm going to just draw a nice big arc over for the light. When you're finished, just hit the check mark, and oh, don't want to do that, missed there. So I've got an extra point I don't want. So if I press escape, I can click on that last point I didn't want and just delete it. So that is the path. So I should name it path in the sketch folder and finish that sketch. And now I need to put the profile we're going to sweep along the path. Now, when I hit sketch, for some reason, I had another plane selected. So I've got a useless sketch. You can see here on the front, it's just silly. So that was a mistake. So I'm just going to finish that sketch, and I'm just going to delete it. Okay. We never want extra sketches. You can see we've got my two sketches here. We've got the two sketches there. It automatically turned off the base sketch, its visibility, because I'd used it. And I'm quite okay with that staying invisible. Just see the light eyeball there. I can turn it back on if I want. But the problem here is if I move those lines, or can't move those lines because I've dimensioned it fully. So let's not worry about that. I'm just going to leave it off. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to press escape to make sure that there's nothing selected. And I'm going to go up here to Create Sketch, and I'm going to click on that top circle there. Now that we're on that circle, I'm going to take a circle center diameter center rather, and I'm going to make that 7 just by typing in 7. If you did that, or you've got the wrong dimension, you can just click on the dimension you've got, delete it, go up here to Create, go down to the Sketch Dimension tool, click on the circle, and dimension it whatever you want it to be. Okay, so now we've got my circle, which is the profile. So I'm just going to name that profile. And we're going to carry out a sweep along that path. So I go up here to Create, go down to Sweep, and you see here, first thing it wants us to do is select the profile. So I'm going to click on that little circle there, and the next thing it wants us to do is select the path. So I'll click on that line there. And we're just going to have that join the body. So we have now a curve. Now the circle is kind of a little bit distorted because of how sharp I had that path. So if I want to edit the path, so I'm maybe not too happy, just go edit that sketch, which is the path, and I can move these points in, maybe like so, finish the sketch, and you see it's updated. That's why it's important to name your sketches so that we can edit things. I'm just going to close that folder down and open up the bodies. So this body here we've created is the arm. I'm just going to call that arm. So the next thing we're going to do is the lamp. So right now, actually, next thing we're going to do is just zoom in here, and I am going to create a new sketch. Now we're going to revolve it around here, which means we want to be able to use the work planes that we've got at the beginning. So if I go to create a new sketch, and I'm going to click on this work plane here, okay, but I'm going to zoom in up here. And what I'm going to do is we want that geometry to be referenced in our revolve. So I'm going to go to Create, go to Project Include, Project, and click on that line there. We could have the center as well if we like, but that's okay. Now, Just hit OK once we've got that reference there. So you can see here we've got a line which we're going to use. So first thing first, I'm going to draw the bell shape that I had for my lamp. Or whatever shape you want. Check marks a bit south there. Let's just have a look at the shape I had before. So it's like a bell shape, so I've kind of done that a little bit wrong. So I'm going to delete that one there. And I'm going to drag that out a little bit, like so. Next thing we need to do is create our line of symmetry, because there's nothing that we can use at the moment to create our line of symmetry. So I'm going to draw using the line tool, coming straight out there. Now, if I move this round, just in the corner, you're just going to see in a second a little box appear. That box means that that is perpendicular to the line that we projected in. So what I'm just going to do is bring this line, oops, it's not zooming out. Let's just press escape and zoom out a bit further. I'm going to have a line coming from here all the way down to there, making sure that we have that little box in the corner. So that's perpendicular, and it tells us there, that's the perpendicular symbol there. Next, I'm going to draw a line from the end of the spline back to this line. It cannot cross the line, otherwise it causes problems for our revolve. But again, we want that little square there. Click, and you see it's a solid profile now. I'm just going to rename that sketch, so I have to press escape, click on sketch 5, and we're going to call that lamp. And if I zoom out, okay, my zoom is not working too well today. It's a bit of a funny angle. I might want to change that, but it's more about the skills we're working on just now. So I've finished that sketch, and I'm going to revolve. The profile I need to select first is that half of the bell shape, then round to the axis, and it's this line here that we're going to select. And I want to change it from join to a new body this time. And then click OK. And we have our lamp. Now, it's a little bit out of proportion, but that's okay. We can always modify that later. The next thing we're going to do is shell this lamp. Now, I had to make this as a separate body because otherwise it would try and shell everything here. So up under Modify, there's the shell option. You'll see that's the same symbol there as there. So as you become more used to using these things, you can just go straight to what you want up here. I'm going to click on that face there, and I'm just going to try a 1mm shell, and then hit OK. Is it going to work? No, it's not worked. Let's just delete that shell again. Go up here to shell. Okay, so because I know why. Because on that angle there, it's too tight here. I'm just going to move that back a little bit. Move that a little bit more like that. Because it was too tight in there, it wouldn't let us shell it. So now that I've adjusted that, I'm going to click on the shell, click on that face there, change it to 1mm, and we have our shell. So it's very important that that angle there isn't too sharp, otherwise it won't let you shell. So now we've got our lamp. I'm just going to give it some material. So go down to Modify, down to Appearance, and we're going to bring up into this design, I think I'll have some chrome, nice and shiny. Grab the chrome up there. Then go down to miscellaneous, and I'm looking for glass. I can't remember where it is. Have mirror. Glass got a folder all of its own. Yes, it does. So let's go with smooth blue glass. That'll be fine. I'm just going to drag that into the light and drag the chrome into the main part because I've got it selected on all bodies. I could just choose faces. So maybe I want to go faces now and just put some scale on that face there. And then I can hit close. And we've got our finished light. Make sure you save your work. Just hit save now because we've saved it correctly. User saved is fine. But you might think, oh, well, that looks stupid with it coming around there. So what I can do now, because I projected the line in, if I change my path, make that a little bit more like so, finish the sketch, it's really messed up my light. Okay, so then the lamp profile would need to be adjusted too. So we could bring that in a little bit, not like that, otherwise that's probably going to be too sharp for my shell, so just adjust that slightly, finish the sketch, and there we go. Now this is why it's important to name your sketches, because you can see it's very easy to adjust things. So I can move that over there, and it changes with it because the sketch is visible. So I'm just going to turn that off. So there's a few skills there. Have a bit of fun adjusting your light to be personalized to you. Make sure you save your work in your class folder.